Across the Baldur's Gate series, we've got BG1, Siege, BG2, and Throne. Which character class is the worst to play? Which character class, I understand what they were trying to do, but it's not pen and paper D&D, and it didn't quite hit the mark. That's what we're going to explore in this BG Tactica vlog. Now, I want to say right away, I'm not going to count Shapeshifter as the worst character class to play, because Shapeshifter just absolutely, Druid subkit, was not implemented correctly. It was not. The lower and the greater, or the lesser and the greater werewolf forms, they just didn't keep up. It's almost like they made them for BG1 and ported them over to BG2 with no afterthought. So there's so many things that just are like blank and don't work. So as a result, you might click in once in a while for a little bit of fun, but your strength is as a druid class, you spend most of your time blasting as a druid, and you can't wear armor. So essentially, you're just a limited shape-shifting druid form that you never shape-shift. That class wasn't implemented correctly. The vote for myself, and I've played this class before. It's got some bite to it. It's got some interesting factors. On pen and paper role play, it's awesome. But how it's implemented in the game, based how BG is structured, it just does not work. And it's very weak, considering it should be very strong. And of course, if you disagree in the comments, we all have our favorite character classes. Wizard Slayer. Wizard Slayer, I understand the idea. You've got a fighter that's dedicated to taking down magic. They study magic. They know the intricacies of spell casting, so they know how to attack, how to disrupt. They understand how magic works, and through training, they've got some resistance to it. They're geared up, frontline fighters, to take out magic users. BG1, no spoilers in any of my BG vlog tacticas. There's a couple of mages. There's a couple of spellcasters. Your lower level, okay, it's really not going to do that much. A fighter will do the same, just get up there and smash the spellcaster to interrupt it or kill them. But now, once you jump into BG2 and Throne, characters are busting out magic like crazy, and they've got them sequenced and shields up and blasting you with tons of things. Having the ability to disrupt magic is massive. Having the ability to resist magic is massive. So any character classes that can do that are a significant advantage to the party, but there are some key gatekeeping encounters, meaning you got to take this out either as part of the main quest or side quests that are going to give you some loot or open up options. You need to do it. Having that ability is massive. And that's not to say you can't do it without that, but having that ability on a fighter package is massive. So you'd say the Wizard Slayer is perfect for that. But the limitations of the Wizard Slayer is that the Slayer does not level up quick enough to get the disrupting attacks or the resistance significant. It's almost like by the time it does, your other characters are just as powerful if you're playing with a party that you can blast out. But the big limitation is, since this is a fighter class, it lives and dies based on gear. Fighter, as you level up in terms of hit points, the gear to lower your armor class, the gear to leverage your weapon proficiencies and number of attacks per round to speed them up, the gear to go, +1, +2, +3, plus beyond other effects on a primary weapon, the gear for clickies and certain types of potions. That combo, fighters go to godlike status based on their gear. Well, we've got a fighter-based character class, so I want to take advantage of the hit points and the attacks and the weapon specializations, but I'm limited in the gear that I can equip. I can't get around that. Well, because I don't like magic, therefore I'm not going to use magic. I understand what they were trying to balance out, but here's where it falls apart. Yes, there's a role-playing game. Yes, there's aspects of quests in a storyline, but Baldur's Gate's primarily a combat engine. You're fighting classic and iconic D&D monsters in a little battle arena where things take place. Yes, I could run away and run out the door or exit the dungeon, but I'm kind of confined to that area. I don't have other ways outside of the combat engine and what's allowed to accurately resolve a combat, meaning I can't bluff my way out of it or intimidate or make some other type of skill checks that might ambush or everything you would do in pen and paper tabletop. So you have a Wizard Slayer where it's like, okay, look, you got these bonuses, but you can't use half this magic gear because you're sad face angry at magic. But a little bit of cunning and a little bit of out-of-the-box role play would easily make up for that. You're very, very limited. And with what the designers were doing within a combat engine, I would say that they had to, in theory, balance it out somewhere. They had to balance it out somewhere, but it was a little bit too much in order to make that happen. What I would have liked to see, now this is, BG straight. I'm playing this on my tablet, my mobile. I'm not hacking anything. There are kits that have been rebalanced. You could certainly edit things. You can certainly override things. That's a different tactica. We're looking at raw, rules as written, the game as written. What I would have liked to seen in terms of balancing out, do something like they did with the Shadow Dancer. You progress in the character class, but you have less skill points, or you don't start out as much. So you've got this awesome Shadow Dance ability to go dark and step out of space and time. But what that means is your backstab and your other modifiers are going to take much, much longer to develop. Give me the base fighter kit on Wizard Slayer. Give me the bonuses to fight the magic that it has, but maybe have my weapon specialization be less. Maybe have my progress be a little bit less. Maybe up the experience point cap a little bit more. There could have been some internal tweaks as opposed to saying, Baldur's Gate, an item-based game with a list of items. Here's all the items that you can encounter. And fighter class being reliant on that, we're just going to cut out 80%, maybe 60 to 80% of those items. That's massive in a combat engine game. Agree or disagree? So with this character class, I've played it. I do enjoy it. You're going to cycle your way through all of the character classes, but being the primary tune and playing it from that perspective, it falls a little bit flat. And it kind of irks me because I understand the design of all these sub-character kits not regularly found in D&D and having to balance them out. It was very intriguing. And it's a very interesting character class that I think had a lot of opportunity. It just wasn't quite implemented correctly. So turning it over to my fellow BG enthusiasts, the Wizard Slayer, agree or disagree? And is this a character class that you regularly play? Fritz, you're entirely wrong. It's good because of this, and this. You grab this gear and this gear. You don't need anything else. And you're running around slicing, dicing mages and these couple of fights that are mage-centric. It not only makes it much easier, but it makes it really, really fun and counters some of the tactica of cheese of just mages blasting out stuff they shouldn't be blasting out because the game is trying to make it hard for you as opposed to following the rules of D&D in terms of spellcasting and other things.